Andy, you ever have those just like super weird dreams? I mean, I'm sure you do. Like,
I don't, Dave, honestly, I don't even remember dreaming anymore. Like I don't think I sleep enough to ever get to dreaming anymore. Like I don't even know if I dream. I think it's been like 30 years since I dreamed. I honestly don't know.
it's weird. Sometimes I have like really clear ones. Like, I swear, one of my scariest ones ever, and this was like relatively recently. I dreamed that I was trying to jump. You remember that scene from The Other Guys with The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson where they think they can jump from a building onto a grassy area, you know, and then they wind up splatting on the cement, I was like, I think I can jump this gorge, literally a gorge, and I go running off of it, and like the panic, I felt like I'm going to die, like jolted me out of bed, and I was like, my heart was racing. So that was like one really vivid dream I had. But I had one this week that was just super weird. It was, I was a high school tennis player. Tennis was getting ready to start, like the tryouts were starting, and I hadn't taken my racket out of the case, and look, I don't play tennis, so that's just weird enough already. But I had taken my racket out of the case, and I realized all the strings were broken, and I was like, wait a second, tryouts are in like 30 minutes. So I had to go to the mall and do it. And the tennis coach happened to be my former high school baseball coach.
Right?
And it was just super weird. And all along, I had my young daughter with me, and I was like, "See, this is the importance of being prepared and knowing." And I was like, "So it's just super weird, these dreams that I've been having." So
Dreams are weird. Like my wife's a lot of really vivid dreams. Like she still gets startled sometimes, and I'll wake her up in the morning. Like she'll be in the middle of a dream and like startled, coming back into reality. Honestly, I kind of get envious. It sounds exhilarating, right? I mean, you're making this big jump. You're stressed to the tennis racket. Like, I honestly like do not recall dreams at all. Like zero. So maybe you're just alive, Dave, and living your life. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm dead and no longer dreaming. I don't know. But I'm glad you had that anxiety. I mean, maybe you should go out there and play some tennis. Maybe it's a sign.
maybe it is. I mean, are you like, maybe I'm in the multiverse? I'm like jumping through the multiverse.
Maybe,
So
maybe you're everywhere, doing everything all the
yeah,
time, all at once, whatever it
yeah.
is. Dave,
Okay, Andy,
besides time zone, yeah, where are we going? Where are we going here?
let's get it. We got to get jumping in. Andy, let's give a quick health update.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
So look, I mean, I'm going, so I started 219. My goal was to get down to that 210 range or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But realistically, we talked like a pound a week, right? I
yeah,
think that's healthy weight gain. Everybody acknowledges that. If you have too much of extremes, and look, what I'm not trying to do is calorie, like, just like like have no calories during the
yeah,
day. I mean, we talked about calorie deficits, but that's mostly from exercises and working out and breaking a sweat, as well as having responsible meal sizes and all that other stuff. What I'm not trying to do is like fast during the day and all that. I'm trying to eat, but I'm also trying to just eat my meal in front of me and nothing more.
yeah,
So the first, and again, the my biggest thing is the sweet tooth at the end. Like, I get done with dinner and
yeah,
I need that sweet, and,
yeah.
and so it's finding. So I've had that the last couple of days, and I've gone for Jello
Good
or
for
like
you.
a small pudding cup. Again, I want more. I'm not gonna lie, I do want more, but I've held out there, and Andy, and I'm not gonna get back on the scale to see if anything changes until Monday morning before we get on, see if anything happens. But I think it's going okay. I'm hungry, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, Andy. So
Yeah. I
no.
mean, it is tricky and it can be frustrating, right? Because nobody wants to feel hungry, right? And when you want to chew on something, you want to have it. You don't have to say no to it, right? And that can be frustrating too. And so, like we said, losing those harder few pounds, those last few pounds are always, I think, challenging. But I'm really excited for you. One, I think it's important that you do your weigh in consistently, right? So you got to weigh in at the same time so you can keep that
Right.
number looking right, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I was thinking about you as the last few days of it has been going out. I was like thinking about, is Dave snacking now? Because I walk my dogs at night, and I was thinking about your meal. It's like it's so easy, and we're all guilty of this, right? And we have our meals, and we say I'm just going to eat those things, but then you walk by and you have a little bit of this or you have a little bit of that. I think a lot of folks who work from home, fall into that trap pretty easily, right? There's always something around to nibble on, and so those couple few handfuls here and there, that extra this or that, all of a sudden you're racking in 450, 500 extra calories that you weren't
Yep.
intending on. And it's so easy, right? And then most of the time they're purely junk calories, right? Or just junk carbs, like, that you didn't really intend to take in. And like it's satisfying, but it's a killer. And that's really hard to do. But I think you're gonna be able to get it. You transition and get used to those late night Jello shooters or whatever you're gonna be doing to sort of
Oh
manage
yeah.
things. I think you're being realistic. So you're not trying to totally abstain from everything, right? You're trying to just have some discipline. I think it's great. So I know I'm excited about it. Dave. We talked to a few folks. I think are going to join us on the podcast to talk a little bit about their health ideas and experiences. I think it's just so important because again, everybody's going through this. Like everybody's trying to lose a bit here or there. I'm proud of you. I'm excited for you.
Thanks, man. And look, I'll acknowledge, like I said, I was up near my heaviest weight. Look, I did start going back to the gym and I was working out. So I think some of it, muscle gain is some
Yeah,
of part of it. But again, I definitely need to do better and I'm definitely doing better. Where do you stand with like the calorie counter apps or something like the food planner apps?
yeah,
Because there's a new one coming out where they're trying to use AI where they pretty much video everything you put in your mouth
yeah,
and try to calculate the health things from it. Like I've used a couple different of these apps, these fitness planner type of apps. They're good. Like I can do it for a little bit, but man, it's tedious after a while. And then you just
yeah.
like, hey, I know how much the calories that was, and blah blah blah. I think they're good, but man, that you have to be really disciplined to stay on it for a long
Yeah.
time.
You do, and it can be tedious. You don't sit there and scan every item or this.
Yeah, yeah,
It becomes a little tedious. But I think where they can be really helpful is in meal planning, right? Because you can
yeah,
sort of preemptively put everything in there, right? Proactively put it in there, see what the calorie count is, know what you're eating, so you know that okay, if I eat X, Y, and Z for breakfast or lunch or dinner, it's these many calories. And so it can really help you plan. And I think when people are using those apps, I think what they do really help with is you're more sensitive to having those little snacks because you don't want to scan them in. And when you do scan them in and you see, oh my gosh, this was, 12 grams of sugar and 3 grams of this, or, like, I think you become more sensitive to us. I think there's value in that. It kind of encourages you to be a little bit more disciplined, maybe a little bit more hesitant to take in that extra snack and you see what you're eating. So I think there's goodness in it, but it is work, right? But in the reality, we're trying to lose good weight, it is work, and so it's a trade-off, right? Do we want to put in that time to get that reality check and know exactly what we're eating? It's not a bad thing. I think it can be really helpful, but they are a little tiring. They are a little tiring. I've typically used it for planning purposes, just to know, okay, if I put this together, I'm taking in 600 calories. That helps me understand that.
do you think it like ruins like it? I know they're helpful, but like, can you imagine setting up like this AI one, setting up like your camera in front of your
Yeah,
food plate to be like,
yeah.
okay, here I go. I'm going to shovel this food. I don't know. It kind of takes a little bit out of it
It
for me.
does. It does.
I used to know a guy when I was in the army, and better his mantra. He was a health addict. He was a huge runner, but he always had better bad choices. Especially when you go to things like, okay, yeah, there's donuts here, but then there's also the granola bar. Okay, no, granola bars may seem healthy in all the cases, but they're not
Yeah,
exactly the greatest.
yeah.
So I'll go with that over the donut. So better bad choice. I think sometimes maybe we overanalyze it, and then maybe that adds more stress. Oh my God, I got to count calories this time, and so I wish there was an easier way. I just feel it would be a little weird to be watching your food go and you're shoveling your food in your
Yeah.
mouth. But AI, who knows the Skynet, Andy? So
That's right. That's right. You want Skynet and Ultron watching your meal, and but I think none of those things are really fun. And I think it's once you get healthy habits going, I think it's easier to maintain a weight, but when you're really trying to lose weight, I think all those inconveniences do help us because
yeah,
they kind of force us, so it's never fun, but it's the goal you're working towards, right? So when you're
there you
looking
go.
slim and pretty there in September for your son's wedding, we're all going to be happy for you, and that's an important thing.
That is the important thing. All right, Andy, let's wrap this one up. We won't need to hear the buzzer on that, but we'll keep checking in on that from time to time, Andy. I'll give you the weekly updates as
Yeah,
well
looking
on
forward to it.
and hopefully we can get some of these great experts on to talk about their experiences as well.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, let's talk. This is our dreaded Wednesday politics segment. We have to talk it.
Boo.
I know, boo, exactly. But we didn't talk about Elon Musk and and Donald Trump going to having their, I don't know if it's called an interview or a bromance or a bro pal type of thing on X the other night. But I think it was like a 2 hour long discussion. There was video of Trump hovering over, like yelling at the at his phone, talking to Elon through this. But as always, it was just filled with like falsehoods.
Yeah,
There's already claims the United Auto Workers are already trying to file a claim against both Musk and Trump because they said that they would go hard against strikers and not allow these individuals to voice their rights. There's so much here, Andy, but we keep seeing now the Trump campaign really spiraling in a lot of different directions. They have it's not clear. They don't really have an attack surface that they're going after for Kamala Harris. And some of that just may still be let's ride out this newness, let's get through the Democratic convention and then go heavy after Labor Day when everything starts gearing up. There's the debate scheduled. But now
yeah,
they're starting to come out with, hey, the size of the crowd. This is huge for Trump. He's got the small hands. He's probably got a small dick too. Oh, shouldn't have said that. But he's got the small hands. He's got the smaller crowds. But yet he keeps coming after, like, oh, this is an AI imposed image of Kamala Harris. The crowds aren't that big.
yeah.
Is this desperation, Andy? Where are we going with this here?
You never know what's desperation, what he actually believes is true. You know what I mean? I don't. I say sincerely, like, I don't think he's well. I don't think he's tethered in reality. Like I think he genuinely believes some of the things that he says for no other reason than because they come to mind, and he thinks like this must be true, right? And he says things that he wants to believe or wants others to believe, but I think he says them, and I think he comes to actually believe them, right? And his ideas, I've heard him like, is that crowd real? I think he asks that question, and he assumes it's not, and he embraces it as fact, right? And you see this a lot with some of the stories that he says. I mean, look, Dave, I think it was NPR that did this analysis of his speech on a couple of days ago on August 8th. 162 lies and distortions in a conference is a little bit over an hour. Right? I mean, his rate of like nonsense it's incredible, and I don't think it's deliberate all the time. I don't think he purposely lies all the time. I think he genuinely believes what he says for no other reason than because he says it, right? So it's really weird. Like when he talks about crime, like all the data says opposite of what he says, right? Everything indicates otherwise what his reality is, but he says it and he preaches it, and his fan base embraces it, right? To the point where people dismiss statistics as fixed and bogus, right? And sort of rely on the the sensing they have of reality, right? Like I think crime is up. No basis for it, right? Not only is crime up, but crime is up because of illegal immigrants. No, like factually untrue, right? But people take it and they accept it because he said it, and they've chosen to accept that as a reality. And like it's just a really interesting sort of disconnect from facts, and just like this is the truth as I say it. And so Kamala's got small crowds. She has no crowds. It's AI generated. When in reality, like there's massive enthusiasm in crowds, and like that's just reality. Like you see, like you can't deny that. Like it's fact. But he does deny it, and he doesn't believe it, and his fans go along with it. And it's just really interesting that this is where we are.
Well, I think this is, yeah, this malinformation culture. I mean, we saw this in England with all of those rioting around that really bad stabbing attack there. I mean, one person, one online influencer
Yeah,
who happened to be of the right-wing persuasion, anti-immigrant persuasion, made a comment about an individual's the threat actor's background. It got to the point, Andy, where this individual who did that event was underage, and by law, they were protected from being identified.
yeah,
But because of the violence that occurred there had to be an announcement from the judge and from the police department. So this is the challenge, I think, with misdis and malinformation, especially ones that engage in circles, kind of like a pig pen effect around the Trump administration
yeah.
and their campaign is they peddle in this so frequently that they just make up stuff, and it distorts what the reality is, and it distorts where people are trying to understand and you make one comment and all of a sudden people accept it as fact, and we just you can't do that anymore. You have to challenge it, and you have to challenge it with based on real observations. What are you really seeing? What are you really understanding? And not some guy sitting in his basement somewhere and and making things up and rattling things off. And Trump latches onto these. Like you said it earlier, you don't know where he hears this from. He latches onto some comment somebody made while he was strolling through his socials, and there you go.
But unfortunately, it's not just like some guy in the basement. Is the frustrating part, and this is the
It's
concerning
true.
part, right?
Yeah.
It's the deliberate um, amplification of nonsense, and we've seen this on, you know, X, right, where Elon Musk will reply to something that's like absolutely untrue with one of his little wordings like strange or concerning, and it just gets so many views, and then goes back later and realizes, oh, this was false, was wrong. He just had a number of incidents where he was perpetuating false stories, but the views they get, then people embrace it. I mean, I shared about a book, Dave, that I'm reading that dives into this, and it's just this ability to amplify false messages. It's sadly no longer just one or two guys, right? And so as we look back at Pizzagate, for example, some listeners will remember that incident, like and now we're looking at the UK, like these lies and falsehoods and these distorted realities get amplified by trusted voices, and then they take on a life of their own that can lead to like real harmful effects. And that's a dangerous part of the environment that we live in 2024, and it's played out numerous times, right? So I mean, yes, Donald Trump is disconnected from reality, but so are a lot of other folks. Some of them knowingly, and some of them, I think, just like don't even realize it. Don't even realize it. I think in the former president's case, I don't even know if he realizes that what he says is not connected to reality.
Yeah, Pizzagate famously, where the satanic pedophiles of the Democratic Party all converge
Right.
in their rituals and such. Very similar to Taylor Swift's satanic affiliation, right? So,
That's right. Sure do.
okay, Andy, let's go into our last topic for today. Where do you stand on pranks, Andy? Where are you at? Like to have a good time? You like to prank your kids? Maybe.
I don't. I've never got into it. I've never gotten into it. It's no. It's not fun. Like to me, it's not that fun. Like little prank, little jokes are funny, but they almost always cause like inadvertent harm. Like somebody ends up in tears or something. So it's I'm not big on it. How about you, Dave? You like to prank your kids and your wife?
Yeah, not a big fan. I mean, in high school you do the drop the pants, type of thing. You do kind of do all some of that stuff. Those are, I guess, kind of okay. But I guess apparently, Andy, and again, I'm not on TikTok, but this is a big thing on the TikTok culture. I think some people, some people have made their names around pranks and posted them on YouTube, their YouTube channel or TikTok now, but apparently somebody's had enough of it, Andy, and they were pranked in a Target shopping center where kids, apparently, you're going through the aisles, you're looking, and sometimes you may leave your cart unattended for a minute while you go into an aisle. You didn't want to take your cart down that aisle. Apparently, this individual went down there to pick up some socks, came back, and the cart was gone. And then he spent the next 15, 20 minutes trying to find the cart all around the store as teenagers were deliberately hiding it from him and filming his location or his reactions all along. And then ultimately filming the grand build up was his reaction when they finally got the cart back, and the angry reaction, which no doubt after spending 15 to 20 minutes, I would have pounded some kids, I think, at that point. But um apparently this is a big thing on TikTok. It's kind of fucking stupid if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok's seen a lot of pranks and like things to do, right? From some pretty harmless ones to some that get a little bit dangerous for either prankster or those being pranked, and they sort of again take a life of themselves up, and people run with it. Sometimes I think it gets exaggerated, like how prevalent these pranks are. Like I don't think they're taking the nation by storm. They get documented, and so they get a lot of screen time from people. But it is frustrating, right? I mean, it is frustrating. I can only imagine like you've got limited time, and then you're wasting all your time looking for your empty cart. But I think it's something for people to be aware of, right? I mean, when these stories come out, I think it's good people to be aware of them because like this can happen, right? This can happen, to anybody. There was some question whether this guy's, sort of complaint was actually true, or if he was also sort of just doing it for attention, a prank of its own, really. But these kinds of things happen, and so I think it's good for people to be aware of, the types of antics that are being promoted on social media, just so they're not totally shocked, and then to properly be able to respond to things when, again, comes back to sort of like reality distortion, right? Just like whether it's somebody telling lies and untruths, right? Or somebody taking your cart full of goods and you don't know what just happened to me. I think it's good for people to be aware of these things and hopefully not overreact. But Dave, I would be a pissed off individual. I never have enough time for anything. And so if I was at the grocery store and I came back and my cart was empty, like I would be pretty pissed to have lost 20, 30 minutes of my life shopping, let alone before I can even find my cart. So don't let me
Yeah.
find those kids near my groceries, Dave.
Yeah, I would be pretty much the same thing. So, okay, Andy, one other story we can get to today on a Wednesday. You're a pretty competitive guy. I know you like to push yourself, do the. You ever think about poisoning your opponent, Andy?
So I haven't gone that far, Dave. Are we poisoning our opponents today? Is this happening?
Russia, no stranger to poisoning, and in all seriousness, no stranger to poisoning. No, they've had some pretty significant Vladimir Putin events. Apparently, in a chess match, Andy, one player has accused the other of poisoning them. So it seems pretty extreme to go to this level, Andy. I'm not so sure, but this is, maybe this might be a first here. So
Yeah, yeah. So this is taking place in Russia, like in Dagestan, which has seen some unfortunate events, in terrorism and other things, and so maybe not the most peaceful neck of the woods, but yeah, I mean they take chess seriously in Russia, and in this case, they take it so seriously that yeah, the one competitor um, went and tried to poison her career, and we've seen other like sort of antics like this, right, where people take cheating in chess to a whole another level. Right? We had the remote control in the anus story not that long
yeah,
ago, I
that's
think.
right.
And
I forgot about that.
right, I mean, it's look, I like chess. It's a cool game, but like competitive chess is apparently a pretty dangerous endeavor if you get into it. So pretty remarkable story. We'll share the link for it, if you want to check it out. But yeah, Russian chess poisoning. It's a pretty extreme sport. Never knew chess to be an extreme sport, Dave.
No, I didn't either. Did you ever watch that show, the Queen's Gambit?
I didn't. I did not.
It was a pretty good chess show. I'm not a chess player. I don't even pretend to know how, I know generally how it's played, but I think I would lose a match to probably a 5-year-old kid in probably 10 minutes,
Yeah.
probably just very basic. I just never understood the strategies behind it, but I know it's a big deal. But the Queen's Gambit was quite a show. I did enjoy that one, especially the pathway there.
Never
But
too late, Dave. You can always get back into chess. It's never too late.
I can always get back into chess, but Andy, I guess we'll close that session up a little early, but Andy, I mean, it's been so far a good week so far. You've been doing okay. I mean, your Lions Gibbs got a little hurt, so I'm not so sure.
I
You
think
know,
I think I think I think there's a couple injury reports. Nothing seems serious from what I've seen so far. And our cornerback also had a pectoral issue. I think that was minor too. I've got to dig into that more. You can see, Dave, I'm wearing my much appreciated Sam Laporta Lions T-shirt today. So it's always a good day when you're in Lions gear. But yeah, it's exciting. I mean, we got NFL football coming up here this weekend. It's Wednesday. Games start, I think, maybe Thursday, Friday this week. The Lions are playing, I think, on Saturday against Kansas City. And so as we say goodbye to the Paris Olympics and we look at Tom Cruise's heavily altered face, as we look to LA 2028. I'm just very grateful that we have fall and fall sports and the NFL is back and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Andy, I'm not I'm going to tell you, I'm not looking forward to I'm looking forward to fall weather. I'm looking forward to fall food. I'm looking forward to fall decorations and getting into all the great stuff there. I'm struggling right now. So the Baltimore Orioles are my baseball team. They've had a very successful first couple months of the season, but the last month of the season they fucking sucked. And I swear it's caused me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
They're still like a half a game out of first place, but I feel like they should be 10 games up on first place. They have their roster is just fizzling. I have a lot like I'm real like this is 3 years ago. This team lost 100 games, Andy. Here we are. We're battling for. We're gonna make the playoffs, but we're battling for the division, and I'm unhappy, and it sucks. This is the
Yeah,
life of a sports fan, and I don't even want to get into Cowboys, but and so like I'm dreading like October baseball because I just don't think my team, even though they're good, and yes, I'm overreacting, Orioles fans. I'm overreacting, but I'm allowed to overreact. This is just why I hate being a sports fan sometimes.
it's hard. I mean, it's fun, right? We love to cheer on our teams. We love to live with our team's victories and losses, but it is grueling, Dave. It can be tough. And baseball's had a weird one, right? I mean, there's some teams that have been winning and losing that maybe weren't supposed to win and lose those games from what I've seen here. So it can be a tough
It's
time,
been
but
a
that's
weird
all.
it's been a weird season. Usually you have like one or two teams that are like so dominant that they win over 100 games. There's like the Orioles are one of the top teams in the league. They've won, I mean, but there's like five top teams, and
Yeah,
they've all sucked the last month of the year, or in the over the last month. It's just really a weird baseball season this year. And then you have like the Chicago White Sox, who are just like like historically awful.
yeah.
So I mean, they might set the record for worst winning percentage and most losses in a season. They're awful. So. But Andy, that sounds like a good wrap up for this week here. I just had to get that out because I'm a little bit of a sports miserable person right now. Wish I had other distractions.
It's all right, Dave. You'll be doing fine once the Cowboys get right here, which won't happen. So I'm sorry for your frustrations. It's a fun time of the year. We'll talk more sports, I'm sure, in the next couple of episodes here. But yeah, I mean, from reality distortion to Russian chess poisoning, Dave, we try and make sure that we give everybody all the relevant news. So I'm glad that people are aware. We're grateful for everybody that listens and dials in and shares with us. And Dave, I'm glad for you to be enjoying and stressing with sports and dreams and everything else you're getting into.
And there we go. That sounds like a good wrap up, Andy. We also have to talk college football here. The college football playoff this year is coming up. A
That's
lot
right.
of interesting scenarios. The rankings are coming out. The season starts in a couple weeks. So that'll be another reason for me to be miserable, Andy. So I'm just a miserable sports fan. Can't one of my teams just win one time? So. All right, Andy, with that, catch up with you next time.